Looks like Rick Ross ain't here for the disrespect. Rozay just fired back at 50 Cent and Gilly after they tried to play him, calling him broke. You know when Rick's name gets thrown in the mix, it's about to get real spicy. Let's dive into how this beef started and why Ross ain't letting it slide. In reality, this is just a very old story that somehow never seems to simmer down. It's been cooking for decades, and this is just a new episode in the good old Rozay versus Fifth beef. The beef between 50 Cent and Rick Ross popped off back in '08, all cause of a shady look Ross says 50 threw his way at the BET Awards. That small moment lit the fuse for their ongoing drama. By early '09, Ross dropped the first diss track, Mafia Music, where he went straight for 50's personal life. 50 wasted no time clapping back, dropping Officer Ricky, Go Ahead, Try Me, where he straight up called Ross a fat and exposed Ross's past as a CO. This wasn't just a music thing anymore. 50 Cent started clowning Ross by creating a whole character, Pimpin' Curly. In February '09, 50 dropped a wild video called A Psychic Told Me, where he straight up showed DJ Khaled's mom's workplace and crib, taking the beef to another level. 50 also got his hands on a sex tape of Ross's baby mama, Lastonia Leviston, and did commentary throughout the vid. That sex tape stunt cost 50 big time. In 2010, Lastonia Leviston sued 50 for leaking the tape without her permission. By July 2015, 50 was hit with a $5 million fine for damages, plus another $2 million in penalties. The heat never really died down. In 2013, 50 clowned Ross on Twitter after Ross got in a car crash while dodging gunfire. Over the years, both of them have kept throwing jabs on social media and in interviews. By 2020, Ross shut down any chance of a versus battle with 50, questioning if 50 was even still relevant in the game. The beef sparked up again recently. 50 roasted the sales numbers for Ross and Meek Mill's collab album Too Good to Be True, which only moved 31,000 units in the first week. Ross brushed off 50's digs, saying both of them are still cashing out no matter what the numbers say. This feud's been all about personal shots, disrespect, and trying to take each other down. Ain't no end in sight for this one. And that brings us to present time, where we got Rozay and 50 going at it once again.
You know, Ross take a shot at you a couple weeks ago about a girl that you're not even with no more. And then, what is it with you and Ross that's just been going on for so long?
I spend it to you, right? Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered further. You see TMZ is say 50 Cent said this is gonna be bad for Irv Gotti's career. I get covered across the board. They get covered on the hip hop blogs. It is what it is. And you watch because I have nothing else to say. You'll just see it happen periodically as it goes.
The latest spark between 50 Cent and Rick Ross kicked off when 50 hit up the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast with Gilly and Wallow. Gilly brought up how Ross had recently been throwing shade, especially mentioning 50's ex. 50 didn't hold back. He said Ross only brings him up when things aren't looking too good just to grab some attention. He straight up said, nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me, it gets covered for you.
I just seen a clip of the Wallow show where he was interviewing 50 Cent, and the other little dude asked him a question, small talk. But ultimately, the question that should have been asked was, you jumped out there during the beef, the West Coast versus the Canadian, and I thought Dr. Dre put you on. I thought Dr. Dre was the set. I thought you was loyal to Dr. Dre. You mean you went with the Canadian over Dr. Dre?
Ross then took a shot at 50's recent land buy in Shreveport, Louisiana, implying it was some cheap land that 50 could only afford. He even offered 50 a chance to shoot something on his property, flexing that he's got another 150 acres on the backside of his land. Ross didn't stop there. He bragged about his own success, pointing out that his car show pulled in 15,000 people to his estate. This latest back and forth shows that the beef between these two ain't slowing down anytime soon. soon. They keep taking shots at each other's success and wealth, and it's clear that both 50 and Ross are gonna keep using the spotlight to throw jabs as long as this feud continues. However, Rozay also involved Gilly in this jam because, well, he was the host of the whole thing, but Gilly wasn't having none of that. He gave his 2 cents to Rozay as quickly as he could. Gilly went to his IG and simply wrote, "What did I do? Your beef is not with me, black man." It's kinda weird that Rick Ross would even mention him, given that Gilly really didn't comment anything or add fuel to the fire. I mean, he did laugh as hard as one can, but that's a different pair of shoes. Let's be honest, 50 has that effect. He burns his ops and we laugh while he's doing it. It's just 50 Cent things. Comments online generally think 50 Cent got the upper hand in this one. Can't say that was a surprise. One person simply reiterated what 50 said in the interview, and they think it's straight facts. "I get covered across the board. They get covered in hip-hop blogs." Another person thinks that 50 gave Ross a schooling during the interview. If he wasn't paying attention, that would be his loss. 50 gave Ross $1 million worth of game in that interview. The long history and recent flare-ups in the 50 Cent and Rick Ross beef show this drama is far from over. Here's why it's still popping off. Both 50 and Ross got huge egos, and neither is about to back down. They see squashing the beef as a weak move. Plus, keeping the feud alive brings a lot of attention. It's almost like a business strategy. Every time they throw shade, it puts their names back in the headlines and helps them stay relevant. But it's deeper than just diss tracks now. They've gone after each other personally, with serious disrespect that's hard to forgive. The legal fallout, especially that whole tape situation, hit 50's pockets hard too, adding even more tension to the mix. One of the biggest reasons this beef won't die is that neither of them really respects the other's work. They both downplay each other's success, and in the era of Instagram, all it takes is one post to reignite things. On top of that, their fans love the drama and egg it on, which only fuels the fire. This beef is now part of their image in hip-hop, and long-standing beefs are a huge part of the culture. Even though it seems like this feud will never end, there are a few ways they might squash it. Industry OGs like Dr. Dre, who's tried to get them to cool off before, could step in again. Plus, as they branch out more from music and focus on other business ventures, the beef might seem less worth it. They could also just grow out of it over time as they get older, or maybe even work together on something big that forces them to put it aside. Bottom line, this beef is deep-rooted in personal shots, clout, and hip-hop culture, and unless something big changes, we're probably gonna keep seeing them throw jabs for a while. It's not just Rozay. 50 Cent is known for staying in the mix with online beefs, constantly throwing shots at other celebs. People have caught on, though. It's clear he uses this as a way to keep his name buzzing in the game and in pop culture. This ain't the first time 50's been in this type of drama. He's got a long track record of stirring up trouble with other artists like Ja Rule, Kanye, and even Madonna. His go-to move is to roast people over their failures, whether it's flopped albums, personal messes, or awkward moments in the public eye. It keeps people talking about him, but it's also how he maintains his spot in the headlines. Fans are split on how they feel about it. Some love the way 50 keeps it savage and funny, while others think he's doing too much and acting petty. On one hand, it keeps him relevant and talked about, but on the other, it could burn bridges with artists or fans who might not vibe with his antics. As for the beef with Ross, it doesn't look like it's cooling off anytime soon. Both of them have made it clear they're not interested in squashing things, and in the competitive world of hip-hop, that's just fuel to keep it going. As long as 50's strategy is using these feuds to stay relevant, the back and forth is probably here to stay, keeping him in the spotlight. At the end of the day, 50 Cent knows exactly how to keep the world talking, whether it's by making moves in music, TV, or sparking up the latest beef. His back and forth with Rick Ross is just another chapter in his long list of feuds, and it's clear neither of them is ready to let it go. As long as 50 can use the drama to stay in the spotlight, we can expect more jabs, more shade, and more headline-grabbing moments. This beef's been brewing for years, and with no signs of slowing down, fans better buckle up for what's next. What do you think of 50 Cent's recent comments on Rick Ross? Let us know all about it down below in the comments section. We can't wait to hear what you think about the never-ending back and forth between these two.